All right, so this time we're actually going to go over 4.5-16. And now we're going to do it in third angle projection on blank paper, meaning we're not using grid. All right, guys? We're going to use the correct labeled paper, because remember, now you have both of them. You have access to them inside Blackboard as well. The first angle and the third angle paper, okay? Like the handout I just gave you. First angle, the visual symbol looks like this. Third angle, the visual symbol on drawings look like this. Yes, no joke. They will put it in the drawing this way. I'm not joking. This is true. Got it, guys? Okay? Yeah. Cool? All right. So that's another way to identify it. Is the drawing I'm looking at in first angle or third angle, did they use the correct symbol for whatever they're doing? Now, the process is identical. Now, of course, I forgot the process, so I'm going to ask you for some help. Should I box the entire object in first? Yep. How do you begin, right? First step is to box the object in. Appreciate the grid that you're given as your reference. Use it. It helps you with eyeballing how this thing looks, so you can put the whole thing in a box. So step one, box it. Then you've got your top view. You got your front view. You got your right side view. Cool? So this time I'm going to be using no grid paper. Same rules as far as how do you set it up. You want to line it up. Now the T-square really does matter because you have no grid to help you. Okay? So to line it up to grid paper, here's my advice. To line it up with no grid paper, here's my advice. You line up your T-square with the top of your paper. You make sure it's totally square, and you make sure this is square to your T-square. Who cares about anything else? Oh, it doesn't look straight up here, Miss Sherris. What's my answer going to be? So what? As long as the paper is straight to the T-square. Do you hear that? That's what's mission critical. The paper needs to be square to the T-square, not to the piece, not to the board that you have it on. So I'm going to put my little, yeah, you're right. I recycled my my dots. I already told you how cheap I am. I'm going to make these last 100 years. Just watch. Okay, down here the same. So keep my paper from moving. I don't want it to go anywhere. First thing I am going to say to you, you see down here like where your name's going to go? When you're using the grid paper, there's a spot. I gave you like a thin line of where to write your name. So my advice is the following. This is what I'm going to ask you to do. You're going to go down here. You're going to find out it's a 1/2 inch. Okay? See, it's a 1/2 inch. So a 1/2 inch of the center is right here. So you're going to go 1/16 up, 1/16 down. You're going to then draw across a little, a gentle, not a hard line, but a gentle line. A gentle line. Just draw real light. You're holding the pencil very gently. No hard lines, okay? Same thing with the bottom line. gently across. See that? Then what you're gonna do is drop your phone. No, sorry. What you're really gonna do, gonna move this forward a bit, okay? Is in between those two lines, you're gonna put your first initial, period, and your last name. But you're gonna write it like I'm writing mine. Block letters, okay? And then here it's going to be, which project is this, guys? This is 4.5-16. Get it? And the scale is going to be 1 to 1. The only thing missing on here is the date. If you want to add a spot for date, this is where you can add it, right around here. Give yourself maybe, what, an inch? Okay, and then today's date, which is what, the 14th? What's today, guys? 6/14/22. Just write neatly, that's all I ask. All caps. No lowercase for this one, okay, guys? All caps. No lowercase. Next. Same method to the madness as far as how to draw. I'm going to zoom out a bit. Tilt my camera. There we go. I'm still going to ask for the same thing, which is 4 squares in, which is the equivalent of, we know what it is now. What's the value? 4 squares is 1 inch. I want you to go 1 inch in on all sides. Okay, now if you only identify 1 inch just in a couple of spots, 3 spots, you can get the rest automatically. How? What do you have to use? Your triangles. Remember those? Can use your triangles to get the vertical position without a lot of effort. Draw a gentle line. Did I go 1 inch up? I don't remember. I did not. 1 inch up. 1 inch over, 1 inch down. There we go. This one's in 3rd angle, remember that. And then this way. Okay, if you watch that. And then your horizontal up here. That way you've squared your edges. You're not ever drawing to an edge. Remember that, please. So 4 by 4 by 4. Got it? That's no longer 4 squares. It's just 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. Because now we know 4 squares when we were doing our original counting. Each square is a 1/4 inch. So with that in mind, the legs are what size? These sides. 2 squares, so 1/2 inch. Got it? Because each square is 1/4 inch. So the ends are 1/2 inch. The full length is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 times 0.25 is what, guys? Well, remember, it's 4 inches, right? Because how many, because 4 squares equal an inch, 16 divided by 4, done, is 4. So the total length of this part is 4 inches. What's the width of it? 1, 2, 3, 4, that's an inch. 1, 2, 3. So 1 3/4. Get it? So the total length is 4 inches. The width is 1 3/4. What's the height? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's an inch. 1, 2. So it's 1.5 inches tall. Cool? I'll leave that there for a moment. So that's your first order of business in third angle projection. Where's the front view? Remember the cheat sheet I told you? How do you make the cheat? What do you remember? Third angle is how? Front, top, right. When you do first angle, when that time comes, because you're going to do the first angle on your own for this guy, it's what? Front, right, top. Always do this for yourself until you can do this automatically for yourself. Get it? So for my third angle, I've got to do my front view here. That's the front of the part. Should we do the top view first? What do you want? You tell me.
Yeah, top view.
Top view first? All right. Here it goes. So it's 4 inches long. So I put a little ticky. 1 3/4. 1 3/4 this way. So I put a little ticky. Then I actually draw my shape, which is just a rectangle, another rectangle. Gentle lines. When you're putting in your initial work, always use a light hand. Don't be too eager to make really dark, pronounced lines. Because when you want to erase them, how many of you have already experienced this? They leave a mark and they don't go away. Gosh darn it, you willikers. Okay? So use a light hand. You see how lightly I drew that? It's almost not visible on the paper, is it? If I zoom in, not sure I can zoom in correctly. There it is. See how light that is? It says can't zoom in or out in this mode. Okay, fine. Oh, paper. I'm like, why can't I see anything? Because I literally just flipped the paper. Sorry, guys. Your teacher, she doesn't know how to use the technology. Good job. It's relatively light. It's relatively light. Okay? Yes?
What was the second vertical angle or vertical measurement?
The vertical measurement was, it's not vertical, it's the width of the part, 1 3/4. Yep, it's 1 3/4. So one side is 1 3/4. The other side also is just 1 3/4, 1 3/4. There you go. Now, what did I teach you already about all of this? Should I go and try to measure lengths in the bottom, or should I just extend my lines? Do I extend my line? I taught you to extend your line. Remember that? Taught you to extend the line. So what's the height of this object? 1.5, right? Because that's what we measured. So it's 1.5 tall. So it's this tall. I'm going to go across. And I went all the way across. You notice that? What do I need to put in to make my life easier? Guys, what do I need to throw in now? I need to do it over here on the side. What's it called? What is this? Guys, what did I jokingly call it? The miser method? Miter method. 45-degree angle line. See that line? This I'm going to make darker for the purpose of the lecture. On your actual piece of paper, I want you to not make it this dark, because at the end you want to erase it. Got it? So you can carry your line across and then straight down. And start your bottom view. See? Your right side view here. Just by carrying those objects across. Okay?
No measurement. I mean, you didn't use.
Only measurements I made were for this guy and this guy. That was it. This is a product of these two views. Saves you a ton of time. Because time is money. So you want to save time and money. So the top view looks like this. So you always want to try to think, how am I going to sketch that out? So the top view, you kind of draw this a little bit. You see it's got, oops, sorry. It's got like this line. So you know there's something over here. But then it kind of goes this way and kind of like that, okay? Then this side goes all the way. So you kind of look at something that kind of looks like that. But not 100%, you're not sure. But what you do have is information. You know that this goes 2 in, so it's 1/2 inch in. So you know 1/2 inch in, you've got this. We already know the side is 1/2 inch as well. So you've got this dimension, you've got this dimension, measuring 1/2 inch over, okay? So you know you've got a couple of things that you can pull off the drawing. So you line everything up. There's this line, and you see how I went all the way down? Because I want to capture it down here too. I want to capture it down here too. And then this side, same difference. I've got this, it goes here. Then I'm lightly drawing it so it can also carry all the way down to here. Okay? Now, in the front view, you see that this thing goes up 2 squares, which is 1/2 inch. So you know you can measure 1/2 inch up. So you know the bottom of this thing here goes across. And then you have it also on this side. Okay? Now you see this goes up 2, so a quantity of 2. So this thing goes another 1/2 inch up. Now did I do my measurements right? Is it 2 or what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 1. Oh, 2 is all the way to the top. So what did I do here? This is here, and this is here. Well, what's the total height, guys? Did I mess up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.5 inch. 1.5. Did I make this too tall? Say again?
7 squares.
It's 7 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 squares. Where are you getting 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 squares tall. It is 6 squares tall. 6 squares would be 1.5 inch. Did I I didn't measure it right. I see. I screwed up. See? It's recorded. So if you ever hear me say sorry, can't say it with a straight face. If you ever hear me say I'm perfect, it's recorded on video that I'm not. Just in case, you know, that ever happens. I can't even say it without laughing, but I gotta say it. There you go. I screwed up already. See? That's why I draw lightly and I don't make hard lines up front. Okay? So yeah, I actually messed up. So here, it's a 1/2 inch. I'm sorry, yeah, it's 1/2 inch here. And then you also have it here. Now I drew that a little darker so you can see something's happening. What's that something? See, this goes across more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's 5? 5 squares. Each square is a 1/4 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So the length of this is to here. So you have a perimeter oops, there we go. This ends here. This ends here. You have the bottom of this object here. You have the side walls here. Here's the bottom. But what do you know? You know on top that the back side goes all the way to here. So in here it's hidden lines. And then it turns into solid lines. And over here, this is hidden lines because it's behind everything. You can't see where it is. But up here, of course, that's me. Sorry. See how hard it is to erase a line if you make it too dark? Okay. I started the line as a solid line. What I was trying to convey is this line doesn't start here. I was trying to say that it starts back here somewhere. But you don't know where that somewhere is until you carry this up. How wide is it? How thick is this piece? The thickness of this is 2 squares, which is 1/2 inch, correct? So it actually goes that far. So when you're lining this up, this back wall connects to here. And that is where this line gets solid. And this one up here is also solid across. See that? This line, this line, there. So now it's a little darker so you guys can see it better. You see it now? Okay? It's not that perfect, but we're just trying to see it a little better now. Now with all this information, what can I convey here? I can carry this line across from here to my miter connection there, and then carry this line down. And I can see where I have what? Essentially a potential for a hidden line, but I don't know how much of it will be hidden, right? Because there's something else missing. I know this, the bottom of it's a solid line. I know the inside cavity is what? What kind of line type, guys? That's a hidden line. We know the back wall is straight up, so we know this one's good. Why? Because we see it. The front wall, though, is not all the way to the top. How long is it? 1, 2, 3, it's only 1 inch. This is only 1 inch tall on this side, guys. 1 inch tall. How else could I have checked this? It's right there. It's off my front view. Do you see it? That's where this position is. But what angle is it on? Does it tell us the angle? What does it say instead? 3 squares. What's 3 squares, guys? 3 squares is what? 3/4. So when you measure it, you got to measure over 3/4. These two connect wherever that 3/4 is. See that? Then you can finish this. This is a hidden line. This front line's solid. This top is a solid line. See that? Now what? What's missing? What's missing, guys? We got the basic geometry. What am I missing now? All the holes. So now we got to think where the holes are. Now, you remember from the last assignment, the holes, do we need to know the edges or the centers? Centers. So this one on the side is aligned with this one. How do we know that? Because when I count 2 squares by 2 squares, and I check this guy, what do I get? 2 squares by 2 squares. So it's 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. So if I measure out 1/2 inch, okay, measure out down 1/2 inch. What do I get? My center. And then I extend my lines out. Remember that? Why do I extend my lines out? To use the circle template. Now we also know that the circle template is in metric. Because it's a 1/2 inch hole, we're going to use 13 millimeters. That's the closest we're going to get on a metric circle template. We had this conversation already. Line up the edges. There's like the little ticks on top, the bottom. Make sure they're aligned with my lines. And there's your circle. See? So all I got to do now is carry these lines over. That's a hidden line. This is a hidden line, but it ends there because the hole ends with the thin part of the thickness of the wall, not the thick part. I've got the bottom, same thing, hidden line, and then hidden line. See that? When you have a solid line in the way, should I try to put a center line in there? Can't. So now I'm going to use my miter method the opposite way. See that? So I can see where they go on the top view. Hidden line. So those little dashes, remember that. They represent hidden objects. Am I missing anything else in that top view? I'm missing this edge. Do I need to measure it, or can I just get lazy and use my miter method, my miser method? You use my miser method, okay? So what happens when you use the miser method? What happens? You find out that what? The hidden line now overlaps or is underneath that solid line there. Is that okay? Yes, the answer is yes. We don't worry about such things. It is where it is. That's where it comes out. Okay? Do we take the effort of trying to put a line underneath that line? The answer is no. But at least here we could put the center lines in. And the center lines are the only things that extend past the object. Next, we've got this hole. Now this guy's a bit of a pain in the Badinsky because its center is actually centered to one of the squares. Did you notice that? Man, your teacher is such a pain in the butt. Badinsky, excuse me. So how do you measure where this thing is? My method for figuring it out is I'm going to line it up. This is set to 30 degrees, so I'm going to cheat and use my 30-degree triangle. Will it work? Can I cheat? Can I? Can I? Maybe. Yes. Yes, I can. It's lined up. That way I can throw my reference line in, my center line, so I could count the squares. It's 1, 2, 3.5 squares. So 3 squares is 3/4 of an inch. Half of a quarter inch is 1/8 of an inch, right? So if you want to just measure 3/4 and 1/8, you'd find it's 7/8 of an inch. Okay, one more time on that one. I see the looks on the faces. 1, 2, 3 squares, and all the way through the center 1, so that's 3.5. If each square is equal to 1/4 inch, half of a 1/4 inch is 1/8 of an inch. That's why. Okay, so that's where the center is this way. The other way, at least it's lined with a line, with one of the lines. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 1 inch in. So it's 1 inch in and 7/8 of an inch from this inside wall. So your center mark, the vertical center mark, looks like this. Your horizontal goes through the 1 inch reference right there. And what size is that hole? 3 squares, so it's 3/4 of an inch. So the center of 3/4, here I'm a little lazy, so I'm going to show you the cheesy method. Okay, if I know it's 3/4, I'm going to find what's in between those 3/4. And that's your center. Because you just want to make sure there's equal tickies on one side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See the tickies on both sides? So what is the actual value if I wanted to do the math? 0.75 divided by 2. 3/8. Get it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually off by a little bit. What did I do wrong? Yeah, it's 3/8. I got it in the right spot. It's 3/8, but then what? What's 3/4 and since I'm using a circle template, I actually don't need the halfway mark. What's the value on this guy? 3/4 of an inch, guys, in the metric system. What's the conversion factor? 25.4, right? So 25.4 equals an inch. What equals 3/4 of an inch? 19, 20, come on, give me a value. I'll sit here for a while.
19.0.
Yep, exactly, it's 19 something. Okay? So I pick that one, make sure my center lines are in alignment with the crosshairs. And again, I take my pencil, and you notice how I'm pointing it outwards because of the template and the thickness of the pencil. There you go. Now, you want to carry your line down, your hidden lines, right? Because I'm lazy, using the miter, the cheapest method I can. I haven't used the miter yet, I'm about to. So I've got my sides that are hidden lines, and I'm going to add my center line. See that? I didn't do it that well. I gotta pay closer attention. Mine's a little off, but I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna carry these across. See that? Carry this one across. Carry my center line across. Then I'm gonna drop those lines over here. You'll notice I'm using a very thick pencil, so I'm not getting as accurate a value as I want because of the thickness of the pencil I'm using. You want to use a mechanical pencil, please. Not one of the ones that I'm using right now. Because I'm not getting these where I want them to be. But there you go. Not